argument on there.
Hello and welcome to the Superhero Hub. I'm Sam,
On that.
and today, you guessed it, we're opening up the superhero files yet again. And today we are doing,
Nightwing,
yeah,
aka Dick Grayson, aka Robin.
yeah. So Richard John Grayson, but you can call him Dick, was in fact the first Robin. Um, it's interesting. Would you like to cover the Robin facts now? Because he was the first Robin, so we'll give
Yeah,
you a slight lowdown on that, and then we've got to hit you with the Nightwing facts.
we can briefly. So 1940, I think he pops up.
What issue?
I don't know. Don't put me on 38 maybe. Don't hold me to that. But Detective Comics out there as well. I think the idea was give Batman a young kid hanging around with him, that young, because at the time comic book readers were children's character they can relate to, and he stayed Robin for about 44 years maybe. I think it was 84. Nightwing finally popped up. They slowly, it's a bit like Spider-Man, they slowly aged him as the decades went by to the point where he was a teenager, had been running the Teen Titans for a while, was getting further and further from Batman, and Batman is always coming darker in the comic books again, and they finally split in the 80s and he went on to be Nightwing. He is still...
That is Tales of the Teen Titans, issue number 44 in July 1984.
Right, there's a famous scene of him walking away from... I think it's him and Wally West walking away of their costumes, the Robin and Kid Flash costumes in the background. He's still the most famous incarnation of Robin, I think, in pop culture. If you talk to someone and ask him, they might not be able to give you his name, but if you ask who Robin is, the Robin they're going to be thinking about is him. The Robin in the Adam West TV show is him. The Robin in the cartoons is him. The Robin in the Joel Schumacher movies is him. Not the weird Robin in The Dark Knight Rises, though. I don't know who the hell that was meant to be. Just some random guy.
Yeah, that was no one. But that's interesting anyway, because keep that in mind, because we may touch on that later, because, getting on to actual Nightwing now, originally Nightwing was an alias of Superman, so it was kind of...
Well, not Superman himself, but...
Yeah, Superman. Swear down.
He was heroes from Krypton. It was an old legend from Krypton. There was Nightwing and the other one.
Well, actually, I think you find, when Superman was stranded on Kandor with Jimmy Olsen, he took up the name Nightwing, and Jimmy Olsen took the name of Flamebird, and the also
they were based on
second incarnation of that was Superman's second cousin Vanzi and Akvar. So yeah, originally, like way before Kal-El was born, there was like a vigilante. I'm trying to pull his name now. I haven't got his name. That's irrelevant anyway. But yeah. So basically, there was a vigilante who went around Krypton. It will probably be in... I imagine it'd be mentioned in like the Krypton TV show, if they're gonna do that. So yeah, he's a vigilante going around Krypton called Nightwing. And then when Superman was telling Dick Grayson about some of the stuff on Krypton, he mentioned the vigilante Nightwing. So then when Dick Grayson felt like, it's time to hang up the Robin mantle and spread my wings, I'm going to call myself Nightwing. So yeah, that is the story behind that. Also, Jason Todd, another Robin, probably the second famous Robin, also adopted the mantle of Nightwing, but was more vicious, if you will. So obviously,
what that was he was basically trying to ruin Dick Grayson's name by going around killing people.
Yeah.
And then I think, didn't that the game, what is it? Injustice. I think a version of that is Jason Todd as well. Or is it Damian Wayne? I don't remember now.
Yeah, Damian Wayne. Also, as you mentioned earlier, Nightwing, he obviously goes off to Bludhaven, which is a district or kind of subsidiary of Gotham. In the daytime, he's a police officer, and at night he is Nightwing. So the kind of parallel drawn between the Dark Knight Rises, this guy who's actually called Robin, I think his name's John Blake, is Dick Grayson was also a police officer. So that's a kind of really slight parallels. Let's talk Nightwing villains.
Well, I mean, the thing is, he doesn't really. I suppose the most famous one would be Deathstroke because of the Titans.
Blockbuster.
Yeah, but not really. He doesn't really have an arch villain. He's fought some people in his comics down the year, but he's so tied to Batman and the Titans that if you were to do, I mean, they are doing a Nightwing movie. There's no definitive villain for him.
Well, originally, the first time he arrived in Bludhaven, he did come up against Roland Desmond, who was Blockbuster, who was a guy with super strength who also had massive intellect. And one of the big storylines, quite a shocking one, is when obviously him and Tarantula corner him. Tarantula kills him. Tarantula's another vigilante in Bludhaven. She kills Blockbuster, and then Dick Grayson lets it happen, and he kind of goes into a catatonic state, and she rapes him, which is pretty shocking.
It's a dodgy storyline, one we're best all to ignore.
Yeah. Also, in the Last Laugh storyline, a dying Joker, Dick Grayson kills him, but Batman ends up reviving him somehow. Do you know anything about that one?
No, and we don't need to.
Oh.
Basically,
it's just a nice little fact for people to know that he did in fact do what Batman was unprepared to do, but somehow he was revived.
Yeah, which means they undid it.
Yeah, one of them ones. Also, when Bruce Wayne faked his death, Dick Grayson retired Nightwing so he could become Batman for a while.
Which time's that? He's done it twice.
Okay, tell the viewers.
I mean, there was the Nightfall thing where Bruce chose Jean Paul Valley to be Batman, and Nightwing wasn't happy about it and had a big argument. And I think, if I remember right, he briefly took over after Batman beat the crap out of Azrael for a while. But then he was Batman for about a year. When
it is interesting why he wouldn't be like first pick.
Yeah, he was. I think it's because he made in the comics he made a big deal about separating from Batman and becoming Nightwing and being his own man. And the idea of coming back and being Batman, and that's a lot more pressure as well. And the second time, when I think Batman, if I remember rightly, Batman was killed in the Crisis by Darkseid, but was really sent back in time or some crap like that.
The Omega Sanction.
And then there was a battle for the cowl. With plenty of people fighting to be who was going to be Batman. In the end, Dick Grayson won, and he was Batman for about a year. And Batman and Robin, and they brought Damian Wayne to be his Robin. He had a cool run; it was pretty good. But then eventually, Batman comes back as he did, and they did. That's about the time that the New 52 happened, and the New 52 was the weird one for Nightwing. So there wasn't a Nightwing. At least for most of it, to my memory. What happened was he went on. They did this thing where they made him like an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it was like Spyro or something like that.
Yeah. I've got that down.
That was odd.
Yeah. Speaking of that, well, this is actually quite unrelated, but yeah. During the Crisis on Infinite Earths, I think it is, he infiltrates Lex Luthor's secret society of supervillains as renegade. So that has also led the Outsiders in No Man's Land when the Justice League of America disappeared to locate Aquaman and Atlantis. One of Batman's countermeasures, in case they disappeared, is to put together another Justice League of America with Nightwing as the leader, and that team consisted of Green Arrow, Firestorm, Faith, the Atom, Hawkgirl, and a couple others. So it's interesting that he wouldn't pick Dick Grayson to be like Batman during Nightfall, but he'd let him lead interim Justice League of America.
Yeah, but you got to remember, Nightfall happened about 10 years or so into Nightwing. I think 93, maybe something like that, and 94 or 84. So it was still relatively close. Granted, a decade's a long time, but it's still relatively close to the whole "I want to assert myself as my own person" kind of thing. And having waddle in and be Batman then might kind of crap all over that. Whereas when he was named Batman the second time, and although Bruce didn't really choose it, when he was named Batman the second time, and when, like you say, Batman put him in the second JLA, and he was in the JLA as Batman during his run as well, it'd been 25 years or so. So that really wasn't fresh in anyone's head. And nowadays, I think most people, would still look at him as being the next Batman. Were there to not be a Batman, he would be the one that would take over. He's still Batman's number one sidekick. Even though he's not Robin anymore, he's still basically Robin under a different name.
Yeah. Let's talk his relationships with other characters.
Barbara Gordon and Starfire.
Yeah. Did you know in 2013 Nightwing was placed 5th in IGN's Heroes of DC Comics?
First of all, I place no value in that, but I suppose he would be. He's the one. I don't think they'd ever do this, but if they ever wanted like a viewpoint character into the DC universe, he's the one to go with, because he's been around all the big heroes since he was a little kid, and he's kind of grown up. And he is kind of like Spider-Man in a way, in that he was a kid, albeit even younger than Spider-Man, and now he's grown up in that world and he's got his own place. And he's basically Batman's kind of adopted son, and he knows Superman, and he knows everyone in the JLA, and he's got his own team, the Titans. So he is kind of the most. He is a character I think you could associate with the most.
Yeah. And also in 2013, he was named number 1 sexiest male character in comic books by Comics Alliance.
Wow, quite a prize.
Who didn't do that? Let's talk fighting style. What kind of stuff does he use?
He's acrobatic.
Yeah.
He was in the circus.
Yeah, the Flying Grayson. So he does have a high-tech suit, especially for his high-flying acrobatic fighting style. And his gauntlets and boots each contain 8 compartments to store items in. There's also countermeasures of a one-shot taser system, and it also has a self-destruct system built in, which is interesting.
And his most famous suit as Nightwing is simple but pretty cool. It's all black with the blue there. Sometimes it's been red. The first Nightwing costume was, I think the word we could use is loud, but it was very busy.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk weapons. What kind of weapons does he use? He uses a variation of batarangs, which are called wingdings.
Yeah, but let's not talk about that. he basically uses, I don't know what I'd describe him, it's kind of like baton kind of things.
A screamer.
Right, and I think sometimes they can connect into one.
Yeah.
Like a pole thing. That's kind of like Tim Drake's thing as well, but it's basically more hand-to-hand combat and with the flying Grayson and stuff.
Yeah. Is there any other things you'd like to cover?
Oh, I mean, like I say, we can talk about other media appearances and stuff, but mainly that's been as Robin. I think he's popped up as Nightwing in a couple of the cartoons. I think I didn't watch it really, but I think there was one, Young Justice. I think he was both in that. I think he was Robin, and they did like a flash forward, and he was Nightwing.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever been Nightwing in any Teen Titans adaptations. He's always been Robin.
Yeah, he was Robin. Probably they're going to do a Judas Contract movie that should be coming out. I can't remember if he was Robin or Nightwing. I think he was Robin. But they're talking about doing a Nightwing movie now. You never really know.
That's been greenlit, and the director of the Lego Batman movie is looking to helm, and there is a script/screenplay being written at this time to kind of get that done. So whether do you think that's gonna be fast forwarded off the back of the Batman film? or do you think that's going to be post 2020?
I think probably they're going to put it on the. I think they're going to fast forward it. I imagine. I think he'll be in the Batman. How they address it is interesting.
Yeah, because there was no mention Batman versus Superman.
Of Nightwing, there was a Robin costume, I think everyone's assuming that was Jason Todd and he died.
Yeah.
So was this version, the movie version of Nightwing, Dick Grayson, was he ever Robin? We don't know. We don't know how they're going to handle that in the movie. I don't think you can just do a Nightwing movie. I don't think you can just do it off the bat and everyone's going to flock to see it.
If everyone watched this video beforehand, then they would flock to see it.
See, the thing is, like I was saying earlier, in pop culture, people know who he is, but they know who he is through Robin. They don't know who Nightwing is.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you handle it? I would presume, I could be wrong, I would presume they will introduce him in the Batman movie and they'll address the fact that he used to be Robin. Yeah. And they'll use that to spin off into his own film. Yeah. Kind of like they've done with Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad. Now she's getting her own movie, whatever the hell that's called. So I think they'll probably do the same thing.
Gotham City Sirens.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, so yeah, that has been the lowdown on the character known as Nightwing. So on that, we will close the Superhero Files. I'm Sam.
I'm Matt.
And this has been the Superhero Hub.